Should we just get into it?
Let's do it.
That should just be the intro, shouldn't it? Should we just get into it? Yeah.
Let's slide into it.
Interesting things said by uninteresting people. Show hosted by Ben and Tom. Interesting things said by uninteresting people.
Hello, and welcome back to Interesting Things Said by Uninteresting People, which is a podcast where we just talk, well, whatever's... I mean, at the moment, we're all going crazy and mental anyway.
It is. This is the COVID-19 edition.
It's, well, one of maybe many.
Yeah. For the foreseeable future.
My name's Ben, and as always, I'm joined by the far more sanitary half of the podcast, Tom.
Hello.
How are
Sanitary.
you? I know, you know what? As soon as I said it, that sounded really, really weird.
I just wanted to point out, despite us not being together, because we're obviously under lockdown, the audio setup has been, I don't want to jinx it, pretty easy.
Right, I'll tell you now, if this turns out to have been easier to set up with better audio quality than usual, then I'll tell you what, man, I've never seen you ever again.
Oh, God.
Mate, I know everyone's asking everyone this, but how are you? Like, how are you dealing with... I mean, for posterity, not that anyone listens to this at the minute, and not that definitely no one's listening to this in 10 years' time. But God, but just for context, we're what...
For journalism. When this gets picked up in 100 years...
We're what? Week 3 of the UK's lockdown because of coronavirus?
3. Yeah. We've... Like we do is... With podcasts, we always have the conversation before it's too late. Oh, hang on. Kelly's coming. Tea. Oh, yes, please.
That is the coolest thing. Kelly, where you go with this?
Hi, Ben.
Hello. This is
Thank you.
Oh, man.
Sorry. That was some pretty poor podcasting. Kelly's just made me tea.
You can't introduce new characters into the continuity.
No, I know.
Because now we're gonna have to refer back to this all the time.
Right, I'll start again. What was the question?
Oh no, mate, this is all staying in.
No.
Yeah, dude, what's been going? Like, how have you been coping with it?
Yeah, that's it. So I was just saying, like we always say in these podcasts, we've already kind of weirdly had this convo, but I'll say again, I feel really lucky because a lot of what I do and hobby-wise and all that sort of stuff is based indoors. You know, I've had so much more time for video, which has been so nice. I'm on my Easter holiday anyway from work, which means I would have had this time off regardless.
Yeah.
So that's been, so far these past 2 weeks, I would be at home anyway. Obviously, I'd be going out and stuff more, which would be nice, but it's actually let me focus on a lot of things. And one of the good things about it all is I've rediscovered lots of stuff I haven't done in ages, and I've forgotten. But I've remembered why I used to enjoy it so much. So I started playing guitar loads more again, which has been really nice. And I play bass in the band anyway, but that always feels like, I don't know, as a means to an end. And, it sounds bad, but
yeah.
But, it's like we're here to practice to get better, blah, blah, blah. So there's no chance to experiment and all that sort of stuff. And I actually picked up I'll show you a little Vox mini amp, which plugs into your guitar directly.
Sure, yeah.
And dude, it was 30 quid. And it's for people that are unsure what it is, it just looks like a little toy amp. But it plugs into your headphones and it sounds surprisingly all right. Honestly,
so almost like if you were busking for someone without an amp.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would say if it sounded shit, but genuinely, I can't believe how decent it sounds. And it's got a headphone out, so you can plug it into speakers. So I've been plugging it into my PC speakers.
Oh, cool.
And it's been I can't believe how good it is. I was just what the hell? So that's been really nice. And it's got effects built in.
Oh, interesting.
So
okay.
That's been really good. So I've really enjoyed playing guitar again. I bought new strings, set it all back up, made it all, polished it up, gave it the, when you have a guitar day, when you make it all nice.
Mate, I'm very familiar with those. Very familiar. To be honest, I've been doing exactly the same.
Really? Nice.
Yeah, playing just because I haven't picked up the guitar properly, extended one for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I've actually started writing a bit. I started playing a bit. Yeah,
Nice.
it's been really, yeah, it's been a really nice. Because I hear what you mean about rediscovering things that you'd forgotten about. Now you have time.
Big time.
I mean, I've been reading more, playing some, like I say, playing some more guitar. It's been good. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've now that I've been told by the government I'm allowed to go out once a day for exercise.
Yeah.
I have gone out once a day for exercise, like
My
every
government
day.
issued exercise.
Yeah, but like normally, it wouldn't have bothered me to have a day where suddenly you realise, oh, I haven't been out today, I haven't done anything today.
Yeah.
But I've been deliberately doing it.
Man, I think that comes back to the fact that we are genuinely like stuck inside because we never consider it like I need to make sure I go out. Otherwise, that's it.
Yeah, yeah.
We can just be like, tomorrow, the next day, or whatever. But now it's like, well, I've got one chance. But mate, I've actually been the opposite on that. I've been so bad. Like I was saying, I've had more time for video, which has been fantastic, and I've literally been spending my time doing that.
Sure,
like,
sure.
pretty much constantly. So when it comes to going out and stuff, I think my longest I didn't go out for like 4 days, which is like a really long time.
Yeah, sure. Oh, we can't not acknowledge the tea bringing, mate.
Dude, a tea bringing and a cookie.
Oh man,
Doesn't get much better than that.
this is the first time I think I've ever been jealous on a video call.
Claire's going to come in a minute with like a full roast chicken. Like
You wait.
"Here you are, Ben."
This
They're
is
gonna
background
outdo each other.
one-upmanship.
That'd be amazing.
But dude, it is nice though, isn't it? I mean, I know you do you're able to do a fair bit of work from home anyway.
Sure.
So in terms of stuff that takes up like the obligations that you have are still take up a fair bit of time. And I know that's the same for a lot of people. But at the same time, I do feel like more relaxed. I'm not going to get too hippy dippy about it, but it does feel more like I'm living my life how I should be living it.
Yeah, dude, if there's one thing that I really hope comes out of it is it will change a lot of how companies work, or like why don't you work at home these 2 days?
Yeah, yeah,
Things like that. Which I don't know whether it will be good or bad, but I think it will show a lot of companies that you don't need that 9 to 5 rigorous thing to make sure the work gets done.
yeah. What was it? They call it being when you get paid for attendance rather than paid for your results.
Yeah.
You're being paid for work. You're being paid to show up and just be here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so, man.
But I've also been lucky as well because the job I got next to of Rachel that's been going on non-stop until like literally last Friday. So I only just stopped that. So I've actually been doing the Monday and Friday. I've still been working from home as kind of standard. So, and then I go back to Petrock this week. So whether things will, we've in a typical way, we haven't been told anything. All I know is all the last final projects are off, and that's everything that my students were doing. So,
oh man,
God knows what they're supposed to do. We haven't heard anything.
See, on a slightly related note, man. I mean, I think there's so. I don't know how long we'll talk about this for, but because there's so many different facets to what's going on that we could probably talk for hours and hours just about that, But I think one of the things that stood out to me recently is how much the people that are at a kind of maybe a middle level, like the people that you or I work for, or the people that our friends and relatives work for, that kind of small to medium level of business or institution where they don't really understand what should be happening, but you're beholden to them.
Yeah,
like I've got one of my wife's relatives is still having to go into work, for example, for a random day a week, just to check the lights are on and all the rest of it. But at the same time, she's been furloughed, which I know means you shouldn't be doing your job wrong.
You shouldn't be doing anything. Should you?
So it's but it's stuff like that where people are going, well, we both got friends who work in construction, and that's been super vague because people have been told, you should go to work, but the perception of it's really bad, and they can't get supplies, so they can't do the work. But
yeah, man, it's I think this comes back to that Ireland thing that we were talking about. Is like the direction from England compared to Ireland has been so different and vague. I think it's probably the worst time to be vague. I remember there was that announcement. It was like someone's like, should you go to the park? And Boris is like, you should resist going. It's like, well, does that mean go or don't go?
Exactly. Oh man, don't.
Just say, if there's any time to be a bit like, a little bit fascist, it's now.
Well, it's true, man. I mean, you are exactly right. People need to be told clearly what to do, because they might gripe and grumble. And with this sort of thing, we'll always be doing it in spite of the few who just won't do it, or who just refuse to
always going to have someone like that. Yeah.
But at least if they're saying, right, do this, it's clear. There's no kind of leeway. Oh, I don't know whether I should be out and about, or whether I'm allowed to be out and about.
No, I kind of wish they'd just be. I think they have obviously made it stronger now, but it needs to be. You cannot go out, full stop, unless it's an absolute emergency, and if so, you need to apply on this app to get the permission.
Yeah,
something like that.
I mean, that'd make it easier, because you look at how they first tackled it in China, and it was. I mean. Without getting, there's always a certain pinch of salt maybe with how China reports on China.
Yeah.
But the stories you hear about how people were having the temperature checked on the way out of their apartment, it was checked again on the way into the supermarket, checked again on the way out of the supermarket, checked again on the way into the apartment. And if you showed a sign of a temperature, it wasn't they went, right, go home, tell your family, and then, as soon as you can get to. It was, right, come with us. We're going to take you away. I mean, I don't know. I'm not suggesting that that's maybe the best way of doing it.
Of course, there's better ways of doing that.
But then, like you say, there was a tweet thread that came out that someone wrote maybe today or yesterday. It's doing the rounds today.
Yeah, we should link that below, because it's so interesting.
Comparing the Irish response to the UK, and specifically the English response. And it's mad, and it's very stark. There isn't much room to hide in the data. We're a similar country with the same number of intensive care beds, roughly per person, or per 1,000 people. Stats very, very similar, except we were told to isolate 2 weeks later.
Yeah, and we're like dying double the rate.
And the rest, yeah.
Which is bonkers. Like, I when I first read that, I was like, well, Britain's got a bigger population, of course, but then they adjust it for that, and it's just as bad, if not worse. It's oh my god.
And this is the thing, man. I mean, I know we don't tend to get into politics too much because we're not very good at it, I guess.
Don't know enough.
but it is. I mean, one thing that is annoying me is that nothing's getting said about it. I know this is a line that's doing the rounds a lot, but the media aren't holding the politicians in this country to account. You have 1,000 people die, 1,000 people plus care home deaths. So that's not. I didn't realise those figures don't include care home deaths. They also don't include people that just aren't tested for coronavirus.
Yeah, man, that's the thing that really shocked me. It's like you can only die of it if we tested you before you died.
So if they look at you and go, that's definitely coronavirus, and now you're dead anyway, so there's no point testing you, then you don't. So whatever. So the figures are 1,000 people roughly, plus care homes, plus the undeclared, and no one is saying, don't you think we could have been doing this better, in a voice loud enough to get them to answer.
But now finally it's Bub's here.
I know, right? taking it to him, mate. You wait, it'll be the It's Spot crusade.
Cool. When Boris listens to this podcast, he'll have to resign.
He does, mate. He does. Oh, he'll definitely have to resign after this. Put it this way: because of this podcast, someone's resigning. I think that's for sure.
Imagine you just saw it on the news, a screen grab of like this little screen here, and it's like 2 Barnstable boys put Boris to rights.
Boris, I've seen the error of my ways.
I wish I could have done more in the time given.
Yeah. Oh man, but I don't know. Just to kind of wrap. I guess.
Yeah.
I feel like we're doing all right. I haven't gone crazy yet.
I think it's worth pointing out as well. We're both incredibly lucky as well, because there's so many. I don't want to get on the soapbox and all that sort of thing, but when I think, it's not been so bad for me, I say, and sitting in my house, which and I'm not living on top of anybody else, and
with a garden.
With a garden. I haven't got like a high-rise tower, and I'm not like a single parent, and there's so many people that have it so much worse, and they probably leave their homes in the day because it's nicer to get out.
Yeah.
And take a break from all of that stuff, you know, go to the park or whatever, you know, and chill out for 3 or 4 hours, you know, sit in a coffee shop, do whatever, you know, do whatever that makes them remember nice things. And then when they go home, you know, we're lucky we're not in abusive relationships or anything terrible like that. So I think for, you know, I do feel incredibly lucky as well. So that's worth throwing out there.
I mean, there is actually something I did want to waffle on about a little bit. But I'm going to try and keep it succinct, but just to kind of maybe wrap it up, because there was a video that Russell Brand made of himself just talking. Now, I don't mind Russell Brand. I think he's all right. I don't always get on with him too well, just because I think he's more concerned about how he puts the message across rather than what he's saying.
Right.
Maybe, but this is a really good point, really, really good point, where he's saying one of the most surprising things about all of this is how surprised we are at the lengths people are going to help each other. You know, so he's saying like, oh, we have it in the news, a village has got together to help all the old people to get their shopping in. Isn't that really lovely? Isn't that a really nice story? He's saying the only thing surprised about that is that you're surprised. It's what human beings get together to help each other.
Yeah.
And I feel like even on an individual level, like I was half joking saying that this is how I'm supposed to be living my life. But I mean, we're enjoying the arts. We're getting a bit of exercise. We're making music. We're talking to. I've probably talked to my mates more over video chats like this, text chains, because I've been making more of an effort to keep in touch with people.
Yeah, man, this is it. I've done 4 quizzes on Zoom since this has started. I'm not even joking. Like all run by different people. You know, loads of people taking part. We had, you know, my friend George's stag do got cancelled, so we had the stag do on Zoom, which was obviously we're going to have a proper one when it's over. But you know, that was a weird experience that I would never ever do. So there are those weird plus sides.
It's almost like it's driven us to I don't know, reevaluate life, I suppose, a bit.
Big time, dude. There's one thing as well before we close on the COVID stuff. Sure. When I was saying I managed to pick up more, you know, start playing guitar again, all those sorts of things. It kind of came about because did you ever watch on YouTube there like those Anderton videos where there's two chaps would sit next to each other? They're called like Chappers and the Captain, and they play like new guitars. You know, it's almost like a classic YouTube-y. The new amps in the background. They're like, this is what it sounds like, and they're quite funny.
I'm completely not familiar with this at all. Right. I must have missed the boat here. I'm not at all.
Anyway, mate, it was like an old, you know, that was from 2010. It's still going now, but you know, that was one of the first YouTube series that I was like, you know, subscribe, get me on. I'm watching every single one of those, and it's been going on for ages. But then suddenly, over the last, you know, I hadn't watched it in years and years, and then I started watching it again because I started to enjoy playing guitar again. And dude, there's this massive drama going on with it at the moment, like a really big, like multifaceted business and people saying this and people saying that, and it's like, mate, it's such a gold mine of like, ooh, and then what? Oh, no way. Let's watch this reaction. Let's watch that reaction. And it's just like, you know, people's opinions flying all over the place. Lots of people disagree, and it's like I'm not the sort of person that like thrives on gossip. But the fact that much stuff has come out of like a simple-ish, this is the amp and this is what it sounds like guitar show.
Wow.
It's mind-boggling. And there's like, you know, the classic like YouTuber, my response to my apology or the truth.
Dude, what's the name of the channel again?
It's just called Andertons Music Company.
Andertons Music. Because I'll link it in the description of the show notes.
Yeah, it was a classic hole I found a couple of days ago, and I'm like still watching videos on it now because there's so much stuff out about it. But there's loads of stuff about like he runs the long and short is it he runs a guitar company called Chapman Guitars. Have you heard of those?
I know Chapman Guitars. Yeah, I know Chapman Guitars.
Yeah, so one of the guys that tests the guitars and shows them off he's called Rob Chapman.
Oh, fine. Okay.
So he's like the owner of that, but like there's this American company that stocked their guitars. But then they went under, and they're like kind of blaming Rob Chapman, and he's coming back like, no. It's like if you're a bit bored and want a bit of drama, it's just so good.
Oh man, that sounds great, dude.
So many conflicting opinions on who said what and why, and all this sort of stuff. It's just like, and it just like every time you think, oh, that must be the end of it, you find another little gold nugget. It's like, oh yeah, and he did say that 2 years ago, and it's on video. It's like, oh.
Oh man!
So that's also boosted the guitar in a way, in a really weird sense, because they're both
Sure.
amazing players. You know, you watch them test out those amps, and they're like,
Well,
"Whoa."
dude, I'm not trying to put a label on it or say that I can describe like have a description for it, but it's maybe it's because you're living life like a guitarist again.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, the whole thing feels good because you're playing, you're watching YouTube videos about. Because I say that because I'm the same. Like I'm getting back into a few bands, a few artists that I haven't listened to in a while. Like I said, I've been trying to get back to. Well, I have been getting back to doing a bit more writing again, and it's all part of the same package. Because without having to go to work, I'm slipping back to being maybe a part of who I have been in the past. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know, not for good or worse, just different. You know.
It's exactly it. It's like the time when I came home from uni, I didn't have a job for like 4 months. You know,
Sure.
that old Tom is creeping back because it's just an interest that resurfaces. That like I say, there's one band as well. I think this is what pushed me into it as well. I've been listening to loads and like too much of Vulfpeck.
Dude, awesome. Yeah, yeah.
Cool. And there's a guy that plays guitar in Vulfpeck called Corey Wong. And he's so good. Like, but it's like it's funky good. It's not like he's technically like he's just really, really good rhythm player. And then I found out he's got his own solo stuff. So I've been loving that as well. So I've been learning like those little things, the things that I'd never learned before. I think that's why it's so exciting. It's
Sure.
like, oh, you can play in that way, and that's cool.
There's a little bit of going back to learning with a few more years experience under your belt as well.
Yeah.
You know, going back and going, I'll sit down and actively learn that, or I never learned how to do that.
I don't know if you find this, but when I like, I really feel like with guitar, especially, and like I found this with bass years ago when I was like, in a way, I feel like my playing for bass was going up like this, and since it's plateaued, like I haven't got any better or worse. I've just kind of stayed exactly the same.
Yeah.
But I feel like with standard guitar anyway, I keep pointing at it. Standard guitar, I feel like there's really obvious levels of when you get better.
Sure.
Like, oh, I get that now. Or like, oh, because I've recently learned like string bending and stuff because I've never like soloed before and all that sort of stuff. So
okay, cool.
That and going, oh, that's where that noise comes from, or that's where that comes from.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been really nice to have that again because like I say, just bass playing plateaued years ago, and it doesn't interest me massively anymore, despite that being the main thing.
Well, it's because it's normal for you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, if it's like it's becoming like work, mate. That's the trouble.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think that is it.
A bit too much like a job.
Yeah, especially with the weddings and all that. But all those have been cancelled now, so that sucks.
Dude,
we had quite a few. But
I know this is diversion after diversion, mate. But just talking about watching music on YouTube, I got back to watching more videos by a band called Pomplamoose. Have you ever seen?
Oh yeah,
them?
yeah.
Dude, they're just really good.
So
good. I mean, you know, if I was going to go straight to criticism, it's probably a bit middle of the road for people. It's creative covers of stuff. You know, they do some original stuff as well, but it's mostly covers of pop tracks. But they're just good.
Mate, they're so good. I actually bought. I remember buying stuff on iTunes when buying things on iTunes was a thing, and one of theirs was just a cover album from like 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
Like video songs or something.
I think what they started doing now, and Joe was telling my brother was telling me, they have a Patreon, and as part of that, they record a cover a week.
Okay.
And then at the end of the year, they'll say, right, guys, what were your favourite 10? And then they'll release that as an album. And I'm thinking just in terms of the I know you and I have talked about the creative process and very Cleonistic ways of looking at creating stuff. But that just comes to the heart of it, you know, just create. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, you've got a wealth of material to draw on to make something that you're really happy with.
Well, mate, the guy in Pomplamoose, the chap with the beard, is the CEO of Patreon. He runs it. That is his.
That right, mate? You've put together two jigsaw pieces that I did not know even existed, mate.
Yeah,
is that right?
He runs it. If you just type in CEO of Patreon on YouTube, he does a video of how like he started it and why he did, because basically Pomplamoose made him do it because they couldn't, you know, from what they were doing, they're trying to make a living out of what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they weren't getting enough through YouTube, and like covering songs is a tricky venture with money, I think.
Yes, it is.
Depending on it's hard to get the correct. Well, I don't know. It must be a minefield, to be honest, to get that.
Well, I was having this conversation with someone recently talking about specifically releasing cover songs through Patreon, and we came to the conclusion that maybe it's because your patrons are paying you just to generally support you.
Yeah,
and you happen to maybe give them some recordings you've made, for free technically.
Yeah, I think that's how it's run effectively.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's called Jack Conte, I think.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. You know what, dude? I know his name from running Patreon. I never knew his name as that being him in Pomplamoose.
Yeah, that's him.
Okay.
It's he did a video of Casey Neistat ages ago because they were going to collaborate at 368, which is like Casey's gaming thing, and it was all seems to be going forward, and then it stopped. But yeah, he's a really interesting guy, and he's an incredible video editor, as you probably already know.
Sure.
If you watch those.
Oh,
those
you mean Casey?
No,
or
Jack.
Jack as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'll find the link for that video because he sends a message to Casey Neistat, and it's so well done. Like, it's really, really great. But yeah, dude, that's he is the CEO of it. That's his job now.
There you go, mate.
But
we should talk about any of the things that we thought we were going to talk about. Have you got any in this world of pain, in this world of awful things happening and just general bad news everywhere? Have you got anything to remedy that?
Well, it's funny you should ask, Ben, because there used to be this little section called Tom's Good News, and
I remember that. Yeah,
me too. And I come at it hesitantly this season because what I was planning on telling you, I'm worried I've already told you, and I couldn't be asked to go back and look through the old podcast.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because that's mad. But let's first address the real issue here.
I know. You know what? We haven't talked about this, and I know exactly what you're going to say.
John Krasinski of Office fame.
Oh man, what a loser!
Has outright stolen my section. That was mine. He's obviously a big time listener. He knew we were a small podcast, and he was like, "Yeah, screw these guys."
I'll just snuff them out with my thumb. That's what it was.
It's just like that. We're just nothing to him, and if we ever came out to it, he probably already copyrighted it and all that sort of stuff. He's
so what if he seems like a really nice guy, and so what if I admire the work that he's done? Who cares?
Yeah, so what if The Quiet Place is one of the best films I've ever seen? What a bastard!
Whatever, man. So I mean, well, Tom, let's show him how the pros do it. Let's show him how the originals do it.
Here's some information I've told you probably 10 podcasts ago. That's how you really do it.
Yeah.
Johnny boy. No, I am actually almost certain I've already told you, but it came up in my news feed and I thought it was brand new. I was like, oh, that's amazing. And then when I clicked through it and started reading more about its day to fact check myself, I realised it was from last year. But we didn't
should we all just agree to be equally surprised when you say it?
Let's do it. So, what I read and what was good news is that the first organ delivery by drone had been done from hospital to hospital, and it was over a 3-mile period, like 3-mile gap or something. Yeah. And it got there faster than effectively anything could have possibly done in that point. And it was all safe and good and ready to go. That's kept in like a cooled drone in like a special package and all that sort of stuff. Cool. I thought that was great news.
That is two things. That is incredible. That is like genuinely, that's really, really cool. And is sort of familiar.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I can't remember.
I can't place it. Maybe we talked about it was being considered.
Okay.
And now maybe it's been done. But it was April 2019. But this bit of news came up again. And I don't know why. Okay. And then when I Googled it and clicked the news tab, and it was like, April 2019.
Oh,
so maybe it was like the year anniversary.
Look,
I don't know.
Hey, man, it's good enough news. that
Yeah.
it's worth
Good enough
it's
news.
worth having
Maybe
again.
that should be the subsection.
That's what we've been downgraded to.
Yeah.
Now
'cause
that
he's
old
taken it.
Krasinski's taken the better one, the better
Good enough
news.
news. It will do. There you go.
It
There's your good
will
news.
do.
Take it.
In all seriousness, just as I'll say this quietly so that you don't hear, but people should check out John Krasinski's. It's some good news, isn't it?
It is some good news, which is probably how he got around the copyright.
Yeah, probably.
There's that loophole there. How else was it done?
I mean, he's probably on the phone to his lawyers.
Guys,
I've really got this idea, but there's a podcast.
There's a British podcast which has got about five listeners, and probably 2 of them are plays for when it's been uploaded.
Are the same person.
But there's no movement there.
Oh yeah. So, but hey, it's especially what I understand. There's a 3rd episode I haven't watched yet. The 2nd episode is really sweet. It's very nice.
Is it? I watched about 20-second clip before I was too disgusted. I had to turn it off. Too angry on the inside.
I was too angry.
I need to watch it.
It's pretty good. It's all right. It's pretty good. Do you know, dude? We should talk about the. I think we're just about to have a resurgence of this because there's a new episode being made, which is on Netflix now.
Yes.
It's the only thing that people have been talking about on Netflix for the last couple of weeks. God help us. God delivered this to us in our time of isolation need.
There could not have been a better way to stay inside than to sit there and watch Tiger King.
It was. I mean, I sense we're on the same page about this. We've joked about it over text, but we haven't really spoken a lot about this. I sense we're on the same page here. It's great, isn't it?
It's so fantastic. Like I was blown away by how, just how good it was. Because when I watched the first one with Callie, I was like, nah, that seems kind of weird and okay. And we watched the second one, I was like, this guy's a bit weird, isn't he?
Yeah.
And I watched the third one, like, it's all kicking off now.
I mean, just because I feel like we should just spend like a couple of minutes talking, just on a technical level, man. It's a good documentary. Like, not
incredibly
even
well done.
The fact that they can stretch it to 7 episodes, I mean, we were on episode 4, and I was saying to Claire, I do not know how this is going to have 3 more episodes, but it does, and then it does.
It's we said it before, but it's just when you think things can't get more whacked out and crazy at effectively a zoo, it does.
Yeah,
like every episode one-ups the other one, and it's just like, holy crap.
I mean, we should be mindful. So we should there might be people out there who haven't watched this. So I mean, it's a documentary. It's made by the same people who made the Fire Festival documentary.
I think someone told me that does. Yeah,
that makes sense because they're both good. Well, the Fire Festival was the one off, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But they're both well done, and it's a documentary series about the lives of some people who keep exotic animals in America.
Yeah.
And I mean, a few people who I've spoken to who hadn't watched it, who said they didn't want to watch it, I think they had the idea that it was just about how cruel it is to keep tigers in cages.
No, far from it.
Yeah, I mean, because it touches on that, right? You know, you see that it's not very nice, but it is not about that.
It couldn't be any less about the animals.
Yeah, it's like it could be Snake King. It could be watching the waves crash King. You know, it could be. It's the people. So I mean, the main guy who you've probably seen.
Yeah, Joe Exotic.
I mean, the gayest, campest redneck I think I've ever seen in my life. But dude. Isn't he just? I don't know, man. What do you think? Because I'm going to talk forever otherwise.
He's like, Joe Exotic is obviously the star of the show, and he's what drags people in big time. Like he's kind of got like fame written all over him in a weird way.
Yeah.
Do you know he's perfect fodder for people to eat up. And one of the guys they're interviewing is making like a series, isn't he? He's doing like he's making a reality TV show about Joe Exotic.
That's right, yeah.
And you can see why that's an easy angle, because like he's such a character.
Yeah.
He's so, like you said, he's He's so like he's really really gay. I don't mean that in a derogatory sense. He's like very camp, but also incredibly like quite tough. I don't get the impression he's quite.
It's
you know,
it's
like carries
it's that
a gun all the
weird
time.
mix. Yeah, man. It's
He's
that
ultra
weird kind of
America.
yeah. It's that mashup of being really kind of queeny with being really really rednecky. You know,
Yes.
so there's a lot of that redneck life. He used to be a cop.
Did he?
He used to be a policeman. That I don't know how that doesn't come up in Tiger King, but just
I
as a
didn't
real
know
quick
that.
quick side note, and maybe we've spoken about this. Louis Theroux interviewed him.
Yes, I do remember. I remember that Louis Theroux not being that great though. I remember not finding that one like.
I mean,
awesome.
when you've seen Tiger, man, it doesn't go into. I mean, obviously, it's not about the same. It's more about the keeping of the tigers in his interview. So it's not really about the crazy side of things.
No.
But man, you find out a few more bits of information about what his life was like. But it's like, I don't know if you ever remember Ricky Gervais talking about Carl Pilkington, saying that he used to get accused that Carl Pilkington was a character, and he was saying, I could not make him up. That's what Joe Exotic's like.
Yeah, exactly. He's like if you had to describe Donald Trump to somebody, you wouldn't believe him.
No,
Like,
no.
what? No, surely not. And it's very much the same with Joe Exotic. He's just such a wild, strange character.
But also sad, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
dude,
I
it
mean,
is a sad tale. It is quite a sad tale.
I mean, I don't want to. Because the thing is, I really don't want to spoil it for people. I know everyone's seen it, but on the off chance you haven't watched it, I really don't want to spoil it for people because you end up feeling really sorry for him.
Yeah.
I think he turns out to be very over his head. Like out of his depth with it all.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he is and he isn't all at once. Like he seems to have such a handle on things, but then when he does some stuff, it's like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Maybe
He's a sort of bad person who ends up being surrounded by truly bad people.
Dude, you put it best. It's just a show of shitty people doing shitty things to each other.
Yeah.
That
mean,
is the best way to put it.
So if you haven't watched it already, please do watch it. There's so much, man. The country songs he writes and records, certified bangers.
And the thing is like when they come on, I was like, oh, they're gonna clearly be shit, but they're okay. Like I don't like that sort of thing, but they're all right. I can imagine lots of people listening to that and thinking it's all right.
Man, I would not know if that's him singing those songs. I would not know where to begin to treat that vocal to get it to sound as good as it does.
No, yeah, because it does.
If it's him, it must be someone else.
Dude, I think we need to, we might as well just go full spoiler mode because it's going to happen anyway. But
yeah, full spoilers from here.
Ben, your honest opinion: did Carol Baskin kill her husband?
Oh, 100%.
Do you think she did? Do you really think she did?
Definitely. I would
Why?
be.
Right? Why? Go on.
Why? Okay. So this is off the top of the old dome, right?
Yeah.
Because of the way she talks about him.
Yeah.
Was it maybe you said this to me? How she never talks to him about it. She's always talking about him in the past tense. She never says anything like, "Oh, when he comes back, this will, I'll be here." She never, even in addressing the fact she has a new husband. Oh, if he comes back, I'll have to explain to him I thought he was dead. She's always like, he's dead. He's the day that she could declare him as dead, she did. It's down to the fact that he just randomly. There's not really any evidence that he ever left in the way that she's trying to say that he did. I mean, the fact that she was set to benefit so much from it, and it's also the way that she never seems upset that he's gone. Yeah. I'm not suggesting, I know people grieve in different ways and you can't tell someone how to be sad, but at the same time, she never looks upset that these people keep, like say Joe Exotic keeps bringing it up in a jokey kind of way. She's never upset that he's made a music video that starts on her feeding her husband to a tiger. She seems so cold about it all, so composed about it all. That to me doesn't seem like someone. That to me sounds like someone who's being defensive rather than someone who's being upset by it.
Mate, I can't make up my mind about it because when she talked about her backstory as well, it was really awful. She'd been like raped and all these terrible things. Again, another bad upbringing because Joe Exotic what he said, he drove his car off a bridge, didn't he? Because he had to tell his dad he was gay.
Yeah.
So both from terrible, proper places of hurt. Like, you don't really get over those things. I'm sure you might feel like you get over them, but probably you truly never do.
Yeah.
So I can't make up my mind. The reason I couldn't make up my mind is because I think to make someone disappear with no evidence, not no evidence, but with no, I think to make someone disappear must be incredibly difficult, like multifaceted ways of being difficult. And I don't think a lot of people, maybe she's just ultra smart and that other guy's in on it as well. And I get the impression she's quite powerful. Maybe she's got some dirt on some cops. I don't.
You don't know, do you?
Talking out of my arse at the moment. I have no idea. But I don't know how someone can be that smart at making someone disappear, because she said her husband was very, incredibly smart and talented, and he said he was talking to the gardener or something like, "Oh, if I pull this off, it'll be the best thing I've ever done."
Yeah.
And whether that's just a load of bullshit they've come up with, or whether he genuinely did do that and disappear, I don't know. I feel like if you killed someone, there would be evidence.
You'd think, yeah.
You'd think so. And I don't know, maybe there's just not enough investigation. But
well, you say that. There's apparently a documentary coming out just about that. There's a new documentary series just about Carol Baskin.
Fucking hell.
I don't care. I'm watching it.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
The only way where I would agree with you that she did is because she, like you said, super cold, like cut out his family very quickly. Benefited massively from a lot of things. She's obviously incredibly smart in that regard of how to get things where they need to be and how to make things look. I don't know, man. I'm very undecided on that. I feel like it would be a great story for Joe to rip on, which is why he does.
Yeah.
I also think of all the crazy things that happen in that series, I'm like, that surely that can't be true.
Yeah. But then we said that on episode 2.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I love how good it is. Like that Tiger King is so good. And I've had a few mates that have been a bit like, nah, same as you, like, nah, I don't want to watch it. Everyone says it's good, so it's not going to be great.
Right, I know, man. I'll be honest, I don't understand that.
It's so worth the hype, and I would say it delivers on the hype.
Yeah,
perfectly.
I'm not,
it's stunning.
Yeah, man. No, I would encourage, if you've carried on listening to us talk about it and you haven't watched it. Yeah. It genuinely is worth it.
Me and Kelly clicked onto the 8th episode last night to see what it was like. It's not what you think it is. It's someone interview. It's Joe McHale from, like, he presents stuff. He was in Community. He just does these sorts of interviews, Zoom interviews with the people on it. It's not like it's not a proper episode, proper as in it's like a side bit, almost like what like comes after.
Where are they now? Kind of.
Yeah, it is not what you think it's going to be at all.
Yeah, fair enough, man. Full of twists and turns right until the very end.
Yeah, but no, yeah, I like you said, couldn't be more recommended. If I tried.
Can I just speaking of twists and turns? Because I don't have a lot to say about this, but I actually have a really good recommendation for you.
Go on it.
It's a program. It's on Netflix. It's a drama series called the English one's called Money Heist.
Yeah.
It's a Spanish TV show originally, which is how I got put onto, because obviously I'm learning Spanish and all the rest of it. But it is genuinely great. I never paid any attention to, because I'd been recommended, the Spanish version had been recommended to me a few times just as an exercise in listening and all the rest of it. But I'd never put 2 and 2 together that it was Money Heist.
Right.
So when I saw this thing pop up on Netflix called Money Heist, I was like, oh, what fucking bollocks name is that? What's this going to be about? But it's the same show. It's just, I guess, just redubbed.
Right.
It's not like different versions completely. And all it is, it's about a group. It's a heist drama,
right?
About a group of misfit robbers brought together by the professor, who's like running the show, and they rob the Royal Mint in Spain.
Right.
and they take hostages and they lock themselves in, and they set about printing their own money. It's great. And that's all I'm going to say on it, because it's just a good twisty turny show. Cards on the Table, I haven't even finished it yet,
Fair enough.
but it's very good. They've just released the fourth part last week, I think it was. Money Heist. If you're looking for something to watch, some good drama sort of stuff. It's very apparently it's very popular amongst not only Spain but also Spanish speaking countries, because it's very Spanish. There's a lot of, it's very fiery. There's a lot of
fair enough.
It's very Spanish culturally. There's a lot of, it's very, very, people have lots of arguments. There's lots of, very, very emotional kind of scenes. It's very, I know maybe some of this is very stereotypical, but it's very popular with these guys because it kind of, it's a show that's written in not only in their actual language, but in the language they recognise, the scenic language and the interaction language. So yeah, man, I haven't seen it in English, but I can imagine it would be just as good.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Now, I did decide to watch a series on Netflix I haven't watched in ages, because I know you watched it too. I watched a while back. We both watched the first series of Castlevania.
Yes.
And then
yeah.
I decided to pick up, because there's second and third series now.
Yeah, dude.
I'll give the second series a go. And I quite enjoyed the second series. Did you end up?
I watched the second series. I'm about halfway through the third series now.
Okay.
Because am I right in saying the first series was only like 3 episodes?
Yeah.
And then the second series, yeah.
So yeah, I watched the second series and I've watched the first episode of the third. But I don't know. I felt like it blew its load in the second series. You know what I mean? I was like, surely that's it now.
Yeah. I mean, it's all, mate. It carries on all right. I know what you mean in terms of wider story. You definitely think the second series should have just been it.
Big time. Maybe that. I don't know. I don't know about that sort of thing, but it felt like that should have gone on for longer. And I might as well talk about spoilers as well. When they kill Dracula, it's like it was very, very easy.
It was It was just a very kind of and now that's done.
Yeah,
like that. Almost like that wasn't the important thing that was going to happen at the end of the series.
But yeah, I don't want to talk about it for ages, because it's I would class it. I thought the second series was kind of cool. Like, I don't know, 7 out of 10, 6, 7 out of 10.
Yeah, sure.
But now I feel like there's no reason to carry on. I'm like, surely like everything's all cool now, but it's obviously not. I might keep watching it, but
hey man, there's plenty of ghoulies.
It had some really cool bits in it though. I really enjoyed some sections and stuff.
Yeah.
I loved how he got the I thought it was a shame they didn't call the whip the vampire killer.
Yeah, sure.
That's what he obviously finds, doesn't he? And it's like really overpowered. Absolutely wrecks people.
Well, dude, I mean, I like the fact that because it's the animation, you can do stuff in it. You can portray stuff.
Yeah.
Not only more fantastical, but you can get it to look constant with the rest of the art style, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Like there's no aspect of a CGI effect not quite looking up to par with the rest of them. Like there's no one wonky effect, because it's all animation. You can not only do whatever your brain wants to do, but it looks right as long as it's
definitely
done, it's done with the
camera. I think I'll carry on with it, but I don't want to dwell on it for too long. But I thought, that's something we've both watched.
Hey, no, man. Dude, one thing that I know I haven't got any experience of, but it keeps popping up in my social media feed everywhere, is the new Animal Crossing.
Yes.
What I mean, you're in it, man. I'm. Is it worth me having to sit through all these memes and sit through all these screenshots?
Oh my god, Ben. You're right. Okay, let's move over to gaming, because we said we're going to talk about it. But I think Animal Crossing, in the same way as Tiger King, just came at that exact opportune moment where everyone's stuck inside, and here comes along this delightful little game where you can live a super peaceful another life there is no, have you played Animal Crossings before?
I have played an older Animal Crossing, yeah.
There's no, it's hard to, someone was asking me the other day, what sort of game is it? And I was struggling to like really explain it. I was like, well, you just kind of like live and dig up holes and go fishing and collect stuff for the museum and you make a bigger house and you pay off your loans. And he was like, well,
dude, Is that because it's like the millennial dream?
I think so. Yeah, you paid off the loan.
You paid off your loan. What? You
But,
built an extension.
Definitely, but I think it came at that again, that just opportune time where everyone's stuck inside, and a game about being outside and chilling out, and not, there's no conflict in that game. The only conflict
Sure.
is like, what time can I catch this fish?
Yeah.
They only appear at certain times of day. Dude, it's so good, and I was apprehensive about it because I haven't played an Animal Crossing since the GameCube one, which was the first one actually, and I liked that back when it came out. I must have been like 15 or I don't know, 14, 15.
Sure,
something.
yeah.
So I was like, I probably won't like it anymore. But then Callie got it, and the day after I was like, well, I'm obviously going to have to get it now. And yeah, is awesome. I think in a way, it's what brought gaming back massively for me, because at the moment, I don't know if it's the same for you, but because my hobbies outside of work and stuff, like making videos and band and all that sort of stuff, take up all of that extra time. I don't actually play Xbox or PS4 or anything nowhere near as much as I used to. Like when I was younger,
I'm exactly the same. Yeah.
When I was younger, you just have more time for it. It's simple as that. It's like I've got home from work and there's the evening, do what you want.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not in modern life, and especially as you get into the late 20s, I think your time just goes out the window. It's like, I don't have time to play that. But it's been so nice because I've managed to play, I got like 3 games for Christmas for Xbox. Hadn't even put them in the console until lockdown. So
Really?
honestly, I've been really enjoying playing just single player. I got that Jedi Fallen Order game.
Oh man, yeah.
It's surprisingly good. Like it's been really nice to just sit down once every couple evenings and just sit and play it for like 2 hours. That's normal time you don't usually get.
Yeah.
Or I feel like I don't normally get. So that's been really cool as well. So I've been playing that. We've played Call of Duty, put out Warzone. So we've been playing that a lot.
Oh yeah, man, yeah.
Which is cool. It's just Call of Duty, but
Yeah.
it's nice to play those sorts of things. Because when I go online now, the Xbox friends list is like 10 online, and it used to be like 1. And it's usually someone watching Netflix anyway, but now it's like everybody's on all the time.
Sure.
Plug in and play. It's great for that sort of thing. But do you say you've been playing some stuff on Steam as well?
Well, yeah, no, dude. Actually, thank you for reminding me, because I was going to mention this. I went on a stag do maybe whenever it was in the before times, and we had, and one of the guys had Steam on his laptop and hooked up to the TV, and we were playing some party games. They're made by Jackbox. Mm-hmm. And I think they're just like the Jackbox Party Pack. I think they've done about 6 editions, maybe more. There's probably different. You can probably buy the standalone games on their own as well. But actually, I'd really recommend it, because at the moment, it's a really nice way to spend like a video chat. So we had ours hooked up with a few friends where we were doing a bit of screen share. So I had I've got Steam on my computer, share that screen, and then jump on the call with everyone else. And it's basically just silly games. So there's one that's a bit like a cross between Pictionary and Cards Against Humanity.
Right.
So a bit like sort of like Scrawl, if you've ever played that. But where you just have to draw. But the main thing is that anyone can jump in on join, because you play it in browser. So you're not playing them. So not everyone has to have Steam. I think it's on Xbox and PlayStation as well. Actually, I'm pretty sure it is. So as long as you can screen share with one of those systems, you're away. But then to play it, everyone's sat with their phones with the browser open. You have a room code to get in, so you're playing the same game. And then we had a game where you have to draw. All the drawings end up looking like knobs, inevitably.
Of course.
That one's called Drawful, I think. If you did want to hunt it out, there's another one called Fibbage, which is where they ask a question. It's like a fill in the blank question or what have you. But then you have to write convincing lie answers, and then you have to guess which one's the truth.
Okay.
And again, you end up just after a few beers, it descends into being rude and really, really funny. Very, very funny.
Awesome.
And for lockdown video chat parties, with nights in with a few beers or what have you, with a few mates, it's Jackbox games, man. I think it's about £20 for the pack that I picked up. So it's not a massive amount.
There's to roll on with the gaming thing, something which I've done. I literally tried it yesterday. I ended up buying a game called Dead Cells. Have you heard of that? It's like a side scroller.
Yes, I've
You know,
never played it. I know Dead Cells though.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of media coverage around it. I think it won loads of awards and stuff. And it was on sale on iPad for like $5.99. I was like, oh, I'll give it a go. I've heard lots of good things. And I remembered that the iPad now supports an Xbox controller.
Brilliant.
So you can. So I've got my little Xbox controller.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I connected it to the iPad, and like it blew my mind a little bit, because I was like, when I was thinking about it, and I hadn't really thought about it before, I was like, there was no reason this can't be just a big screen, Switch or a Game Boy. It's like the
Sure,
evolution
yeah.
of that. And I've genuinely been like blown away by how good it is. I was just like,
Sure.
bloody hell, this is like working. Because when you connect a controller to something, you think you shouldn't really need it, and it kind of like half works, and then
Yeah,
this button
yeah.
doesn't work and that button doesn't work.
Searching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like flawless, and you can get games like Call of Duty Mobile now, and that works with a controller too. And I was playing it with that, and I was like, holy crap! Like this, when you sometimes you peer into the future a little bit, and I was like, bloody hell, no one's going to need a console at some point, because like things like Google Stadia, but even like the iPad Pro's got enough power to really push a lot of pixels and stuff. So playing Call of Duty on that is like absolutely fine.
That's crazy.
Honestly, you blink and you wouldn't really notice the difference. Like, it's incredible. And I know I don't play it, but you can get Fortnite now. And because Fortnite's like quite a scalable game in terms of graphics, like you can play it on everything.
Sure.
On iPad Pro, it sounds like an advert now, but iPad Pro is so powerful, it can play Fortnite at 120 frames per second. And the screen is 120 refresh rate. So it's like incredibly smooth, like smoother than anything you get on like Xbox One or PS4.
Yeah.
It's mad. And it's like, holy crap. Like, I can totally see why people do game. I get it a little bit now when people say they want a gaming phone, because whenever people used to say that, I'd just roll my eyes like, why on earth would you want to play a game properly on your phone? But once you connect it to a controller, and if it works that well, I kind of get it.
Sure.
But that's been like, it's opened up my eyes a little bit. I was actually going to make a video about it, because it was that. I was like, whoa, that's that.
Oh, stay tuned, man. Stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned. But that's been like really quite cool. So I've just been sitting down on the sofa with the iPad propped up, and just playing like a fully fledged game. It's weird. Man. It's really weird. Really cool.
Mate, we are blessed, aren't we, in these times of having to stay at home? Like, there isn't really a lot to complain about, is there?
Not at all. I mean, this goes back to what we were saying at the start. Like, I'm just feeling super lucky that most of my hobbies are indoor based, and like, I've sunk loads more time into YouTube, and I think that's paid off, because I did like a desk setup video, and I don't want to talk about it because I keep mentioning it to everybody.
Link in the description.
But that's hit 115k views now, and that's like a big hitter for my channel. Like, there's no, it's very rare, very rare to get something like that.
I'm pivoting, mate.
Yeah, so that's been really nice to have, like, those sorts of boosts and stuff. And it's like, I'm earning more money from that again, which is really cool. It picks up from all the other stuff which has stopped. So that's great.
When this is all over, please can we have a bike review video reviewing going outside?
Yeah. Wow.
I've been a fan of fresh air for a few years now.
God, the graphics. Oh, so good. It's like I could touch it.
Yeah. Screen's a bit bright, but
Yeah. You get sunglasses. There's a downloadable content there.
Yeah. Typical DLC.
Dude, one more thing to wrap up the gaming thing, I think, because I think you've got a history of it, but I do as well. And I think we might have different histories of it, because the first Half-Life game I played was Half-Life 2.
Oh, I like where this is going. Yeah,
so I imagine you I'm making an assumption here, but I assume you played the first one first.
I did, yep.
Yeah, and then moved over to 2. But that Half-Life Alyx is out now.
I've seen this. That? I've seen a bit of it. I know what it is. Will you explain for people? Because I would butcher it probably.
It's effectively the next Half-Life game. But it's a prequel, so there's no like continuation of the story. But it's set, and it's completely VR. It is a VR game, but it's getting like perfect scores, like 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 from every single gaming thing I've seen. People are saying it's like, this is the holy grail of where VR will be. And it's an interesting thing because like Half-Life set up like what a first-person shooter should do.
You took the words out of my mouth. Yeah.
Exactly, in terms of storytelling, in terms of gunplay, and how things should work and how levels should operate and stuff.
Yeah, and physics.
And Half-Life 2 had the gravity gun and how things interact with each other, and proper like puzzles that felt worth solving.
Dude, and storyline as well, man. It was such
time.
a killer, like in terms of immersive story.
Hugely. And I know Half-Life Alyx, everyone's saying like to be immersed that properly into a story apparently is incredible. And like I've never ever wanted VR ever until I saw that, and I was like, oh my god, like I'd love to have VR to play that. But like I thought, they'll probably do like a first person release of it, like like an Xbox or a PC general version, but they're not. It is a VR game. You cannot play it any other way.
Wow, man. I mean, just as a really, really small side note, just while I think about it, if someone has got Half-Life 2, and I think this was on one of the DLCs, maybe one of the episodes that came after it, if you ever wanted to replay that, turn on the, I think it's like a director's commentary. I forget whether they call it exactly that.
Yeah, I know.
100% worthwhile. I don't know if we've spoken about it before. Maybe this is ringing a bell that we might have spoken about it.
They did Lost Coast, didn't they? That was like a test for it.
Yeah. I remember doing this though on one of the episodes. I think it was episode 1 or episode 2, maybe. But it's basically you get as you're playing the game exactly the same way, but every now and again you'll come across these like pods, these terminals that you access, and it literally just walks you through what the game developer was thinking when they were developing. Is that?
He's that's the cat.
Okay. Yeah.
For those that can't see, the cat's putting his little paw through my door.
Oh man. I think but I would go on. But I would recommend it to people because it's whether you wanted just a way to kind of get into how games are developed, or just it's not so much about the technical side of things, but more about just the storytelling of it.
I've just realised I've
not only been talking to myself, but because you had your headphones off. Whatever, man. You can hear it in the recording. But it is. I'd recommend it, man. If someone fancies something to do and they like those games and they haven't played it with a commentary on, play it with a commentary on. It doesn't interfere with the gameplay, but it only adds to it, and it makes you think about storytelling and makes you think about how to do game development. I'll be here, mate. Don't you worry.
Hang on.
I really wish I could show all of you what this looks like as Tom's grabbing the cat. Are you all right?
He just wants attention.
Well, mate, right. I think we're probably coming up on time anyway.
We are. Yeah, I wanted to add one more thing to that, the commentary thing.
Yeah, sure.
I remember going through it as well. So I think I did it with like they did like a Half-Life 2 Lost Coast, where it was like a cut section of the game, and they like you go into those like those pods that you're saying, it will explain all those sorts of things. But it's like it's super interactive as well. It like zooms your camera in, doesn't it? It's like, look at this. That's
it. Yeah,
that's what's so cool about it. It's like, we're struggling what to do with this, so we ended up having it crash here rather than there, and that.
Yeah. Well, for me, cool. It was even the way. The things that they're doing that separate people who actually know how to design games from people who think they know. You know, where they're saying, look, we need to make sure you're looking in this direction. So you notice how this character does this. So that you automatically turn, and then you've got more chance of this being in frame. And just that level of thought. They go, like, we need you to show, we need to confirm that you know how to jump. So we'll get you to do this. And you can't get to this point unless you've figured out that boxes have weight. Or, you know, it's exactly. The way they hold your hand through all of it.
Very interesting. Right, mate, I better make sure the cat's not scratching the sofa.
All right, mate. I think we could wrap up there.
Yeah.
I mean, we should thank, as always, we thank everyone for listening. If
Jared,
you have
David, Randy,
I think probably count on one hand. If you've listened this far and you haven't left a comment or subscribed or told someone about it, then what are you playing at?
Yeah,
Legitimately. Come on.
We need to hit double digits one day.
Thanks as always to Tony Thaxton for our theme tune. Thank you to Tom for doing the wizardry, mate. I should always thank you face to face. Where can people find you online if they need to?
It's at the old Bite Review on Twitter, but where can they find you, Ben?
It's at Benji Wanlung on everything, pretty much.
On all
socials.
All socials.
All right, well, listen, mate. Stay safe. Stay
safe.
clean. Wash your hands. Protect the NHS.
Stay in, save lives. all that MacGuffin.
And who knows, mate? I might talk to you sooner
Again
than we all think.
Sounds awesome.
All right, man. Stay well.
Stay well. Before you go.
Okay, yeah. So don't hang up. All right, let's do the fake hang up. All right, bye.
Bye. Right, that's the end of the
podcast. They've gone. Now, I tell you what, that Jared, mate, honestly.
What a prick.